If you didn't know, Lodestones are updated in the newest spring drop. These things are going from one of arguably the most expensive blocks ever to absolutely dirt cheap. Now, Mojang went and changed this recipe. Instead of using a whole netherite ingot, now instead the recipe is going to be able to be crafted with just an iron ingot, which means we are going to be able to use this block a whole lot more. This is a really beautiful block with a lot of unique texture variations. And it's been pretty sad that we weren't able to use it, but now I have a bunch of ideas for us to incorporate these in our daily palettes. Starting off here, we have archways. These are the perfect keystone to add to any archway, really any style. We have two different styles here. Of course, this isn't going to be everything, but a very like stony Middle Earth type of archway right here fits perfectly, looks really good. Definitely works to draw your attention up to the center of it. And this one over here is a little bit different. We have kind of an ancient Rome, Greece type of style with some, unique pillaring and stuff. And we have a lodestone tucked right there, right in the back of it. Again, just bringing our attention up to that center point. The majority of the archway designs that I was able to come up with kind of just feature it as sort of an attention getter, not really the main feature of the arch itself. And I'm sure there are plenty of ways to incorporate this, but I found it worked best whenever you just use it as the center of the arch. Now moving on, we have an interesting entry into this. See, this statue is a fairly common design that floats around the internet every once in a while. So I took this design and kind of scaled it up and gave him some eyeballs. Definitely not cursed whatsoever. Very sane, very calming, comforting. Love it. Love the gaze. It's working, it's doing its thing. Yeah, this one is a little bit creepy, not super proud of it, but hey, it's there. You can use them as eyeballs. Doesn't have to be within this context, could literally be anywhere else. Maybe in instances not as cursed, but the opportunity is there, I think, for sure. Yeah. Little less psychotic though. We have the obvious entry. You can use this in floor patterns. One of my favorite floor designs is to just do this tiled approach, and this top texture goes well with so many blocks, especially smooth stone, but there's definitely a few entries here that I just absolutely love. You have some lighter entries, you have some darker entries, you have some like futuristic stuff. It kind of works everywhere across the board. This is a very universal, versatile block. And this category is definitely where I'm going to be using it most, because like the beehives, I feel like this has a very unique place among floor designs. We're going to see this thing used pretty much in every floor now. And there's also a lot more like fun patterns that you could look up. I know I see them a lot on like Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, stuff like that. So there are a lot more designs out there. These are just kind of some basic ones to, again, get your mind ticking, get that brain going. Next up, we have walls, and this isn't the best category entry on this list, but it works. Again, kind of like the archways, this isn't really meant for being everywhere. I mean, you can use it in alternating patterns like this. That looks pretty good. You can use it here maybe as like a torch holder or something like that along a wall. But whenever you use it everywhere, it doesn't look as good, I don't think. In my personal opinion, you can use it definitely. I feel like it has its place better whenever you use it for a purpose, for bringing your attention to a center point here. Like if you were to have a bunch of paintings on the walls, you can have these unique designs at the bottom, and it kind of just helps bring your eye further into the center, which is good. It looks great. But in these other instances where you're using it all the time, I don't love it as much, but the option is still there. And within the house theme, we also have the utility as a ceiling block. It's basically the same texture as it is on the top, on the bottom, and you can use it again like every other random unique texture that we have. These are stone cutters and these are smithing tables. So basically the weird entry of roof tiles is expanding with this update. It's got its uses here and there. I think it's better as a floor, definitely, but I do appreciate that we have an additional texture to throw in wherever we want. And back into medieval times, we have some old school pillars. Like I was saying, I don't think this block looks good whenever there's a lot of them. A couple of them, a handful of them look pretty good. So in places like this, where it's like the pediment or the base of a pillar, and then you have the rest of the pillar going up, or again, like I was saying, with a feature piece in the middle, bringing your attention upward along the center line, things like that, this block looks really good. Definitely keeping it in the stone family, keeping it with those gray tones. But otherwise, I think this is going to provide a nice pop of interest whenever it comes to medieval builds in general. Now, next up is gravestones. I think they make quite a neat headstone paired with other things. I don't think it makes like the perfect headstone, but it definitely makes something interesting, something that looks like it's like carved out in memoriam or something like that, and it provides a nice little pop. Now, this is potentially my weakest area, but we have some machinery, sort of, kind of. We have like a futuristic drone. Kind of looks cool. Not really sure what this is supposed to be. I could see this in like a cyberpunk city. Obviously, you know, could use a bit more details. Could use something. It's missing for sure. But over here we have a furnace. This is a furnace I designed a while ago, and I just put a lodestone here in the center of it. Looks pretty cool. Looks like you could add some more gauges, some dials, buttons like that. Yeah, it works. It works. Again, not my strongest area of building, but I'm interested to see what the community can come up with now. And within the same vein, we also have like workstations. It can be used just randomly with extra workstations. It adds like a nice little finished feeling to the machine. And we are almost done. Right here, we have some lamppost designs. Very simple, borrowed in theme from Scarland, I think. These are based off of ones that I use in my town, which I think I got from Scarland or was inspired by that in some way. Again, acting as like a feature piece of the lamp. You can kind of go for a stark aesthetic with the lamppost up there, the light actually coming from the base here. I think this looks pretty cool if you wanted to go for like an eerie vibe. And then this is also really cool. It kind of could fit in any kind of city. And turning this way, we have a fireplace. I think this one's really cool. It kind of builds off of the graveyard one, where this is kind of acting as a memoriam block. Not too shabby, not too shabby. I like this one. And then last on our list, we haven't talked about it at all yet, but this build serves as the functionality of a lodestone. If you didn't know, you can take a compass and you can pair it to a lodestone like that. So this compass is now going to point towards the lodestone that we just clicked on from anywhere, as long as you're in the same dimension. Now, the thought behind this build is that this well can be placed in your town. Say you're building like a medieval style, you can place something like this in the center of your town and then pair your lodestone to it. That way, anytime you're exploring, you can just take out your compass when you get lost and find your way home. I don't know how many people are going to actually use this block for its functionality, but I thought something incorporated into the lore of your town makes perfect sense. So this could be really anything, just a special block somewhere in the middle of your town, middle of your base, doesn't really matter, just kind of there for the functionality. And that's pretty much everything that I was able to come up with. It's not a lot. Again, this is just kind of trying to get everybody's brains churning. I basically haven't thought about this block since it came out because it was so expensive, but now that I have access to it, I'm really looking forward to using it in a lot of builds, as I'm going to try as many as I can just to see what kind of functionality we can bring to this block. I do really like it combined with stuff like the blast furnace. I think it looks really nice. Again, I really like the floor designs, the patterns that we can create with them, and the overall versatility of it. And even for things like interiors, I'm looking forward to it. And of course, if you have any suggestions, drop them down below. But with that said, ladies and gentlemen, people of all ages, I really appreciate you watching to this point in the video, and as always, I hope you will have a wonderful day.